I'll find her.
This may not be within your power.
Whatever you're trying to say, Master Plo, just say it.
I am suggesting that perhaps, if you have trained her well, she shall take care of herself and find a way back to you.
Welcome back to the PPG, or the Gulag as I like to say. Today we're going to be covering another Star Wars theory. Today we're talking about what if Master Plo Koon, ranking member of the Jedi Council, had trained the Chosen One. Now, this one's a little bit convoluted at the beginning, but I do think it actually would make sense in the end. So if you're new to the channel and you want to see more Star Wars theories, let me know what you want to see down below. I got a whole list of really cool ideas that I haven't seen out there before that I really think would be interesting additions to the Star Wars theory community. Otherwise, I have a Patreon link down below if you want to support my Patreon or any of my multiple channels. But this is my Star Wars channel, so welcome to the channel. And let's get straight into the theory. Before we get into the theory, we need to talk about Master Plo, because a lot of you don't know a lot about Master Plo, and especially those that watch the Clone Wars. There are a lot of things that I even learned doing research for this theory. And Master Plo is a Keldor, a highly Force-sensitive people from the planet Doran. Now, there's a lot of information about Doran and the people, the Keldor people, but the most I really want to go into is the fact that Plo Koon actually had relatives that were in the Jedi Order. That would be his uncle and his niece. But the people of Doran were highly Force-sensitive, and they actually trained their Force-sensitive members to be very, very charismatic, to be kind, to be humble, to take care of others. And this is where Master Plo comes in. Having such great role models, such as these sages of Keldor, Master Plo would have grown up in a society that was very kind and very humble and very passionate about taking care of others. So, as Master Plo Koon comes to the Jedi Temple, Master Plo, described by his master Tevoka, is described as the most humble, polite, stubborn, and difficult Padawan. But he's also a ferocious warrior. Master Plo Koon is a Jedi Guardian, meaning that he uses a lightsaber more than he uses diplomacy. He's very talented with a lightsaber. Master Plo is also accounted for being extremely Force sensitive, and there are many people out in the Star Wars fan base that would agree that Master Plo would actually be described as the perfect Jedi because of how he acted. Not just his skills with the lightsaber or his master of the Force, but how he acted. It fit in line with the Jedi Code, and he was pretty much on par for just being the perfect Jedi. Master Plo is accounted having beaten Yoda in a sparring match, being the only Jedi to do so. Anakin and canon considered Plo Koon an equal when it came to dueling. So now, having talked about that, let's talk about this theory. Starting off with the theory, the same events in The Phantom Menace play out. Qui-Gon Jinn is killed, and he tells Obi-Wan to promise him that he will train Anakin, and Obi-Wan promises. Of course, the Council would believe that Obi-Wan would make a decent teacher, but this is the Chosen One. And I think the Council's decision to make Obi-Wan a teacher was a poor mistake, because Obi-Wan didn't particularly care for Anakin off the bat. I mean, the first thing Obi-Wan says before he even knows that Anakin's coming on board is, "I get the feeling that we're bringing another useless life form on board with us." Obi-Wan was jealous of Anakin, and that's very obvious. Anakin progressed faster than any Jedi, he was more powerful, he was extremely Force sensitive, and Obi-Wan took that offensively because he had trained so hard. Master Plo, though, having been a fully fledged Jedi Master of the Council, would be the perfect Jedi to fill in that gap. Now, in this scenario, we say that the Council proposes that Obi-Wan does more training before taking on Anakin as an apprentice. Now, Anakin has to go through basic Jedi training and understand different ways of the Force, and this is shown throughout the comics that he is actually bullied a lot in his early training, because he was referred to as the Chosen One, and he was much older than a lot of the people, and he didn't know anybody. He was an outcast, and Anakin had a really hard time growing up as a Jedi in the early years of his time there. So the Council behind Kenobi's back would suggest that one of the Council members takes on the training of the Chosen One, because the Jedi were arrogant. This is not exactly outside of the realm of possibilities. We've seen this throughout the Clone Wars series, at the movies, where the Jedi Council goes behind members' backs. And especially those that aren't Council members, they go behind people of the Order's backs to do what they want, what they think is right, which necessarily isn't always right. In this situation, though, I believe it would be right of the Council to try and make one of their own a Master of the Chosen One, because this is the one that's meant to bring balance to the Force. Mace Windu wouldn't want to do it, of course not. He was very against it. So, we're going to choose Master Plo. Now, in canon, Master Plo is one of the sole reasons that Obi-Wan actually became the mentor to Anakin. So it would make perfect sense in this scenario that Plo Koon would take Anakin as his apprentice. I don't think Plo Koon would be down for stabbing Kenobi in the back, but I think he would take the responsibility of being a master, a responsible master to Anakin. So before I talk about this apprenticeship, I have to mention one clear thing, is that Plo Koon had an apprentice in Legends, and she's actually seen in episode 2. And it's Butler Swan. She's seen for a brief moment on Geonosis, and that's about it. But that's not lore anymore. That's taken out of canon. She's just a regular Jedi at Geonosis. And his other apprentice was much before even the Battle of Naboo. So we don't have to worry about that. It was Listark, a Trandoshan. So Master Plo is perfectly open to take a Padawan learner under his hand. Now, the biggest disruption with this change of events is that Ahsoka would probably not become a Jedi, or she'd be discovered by another Jedi. But most likely, it wouldn't be Master Plo that discovered Ahsoka. As Master Plo approaches Anakin, the young boy from Tatooine, the Chosen One, Anakin is disappointed. He thought that Obi-Wan was going to be his master, and he has resentment for both the Council and Master Plo. He's had a hard time at the Jedi Order already. He's struggled a lot. He misses his mother. His attachments have gotten the best of him, and he's being bullied by the other Padawans. Master Plo would know this and see this, and he would take to his role of master immediately. Master Plo would see that Anakin was struggling, and he would take him aside, as we've seen many times in the Clone Wars, which is the foundation for this theory. The teaching that Plo Koon has with Anakin, the teaching moments for him, they're scattered throughout the Clone Wars, especially in the Padawan Lost episode, and that arc where Ahsoka is lost on Trandoshia, and Master Plo is accompanying Anakin and telling Anakin to put his trust in his Padawan. Now, Plo Koon would do the same thing here, except Plo Koon would say, look, put your trust in me, and you will be the Jedi you were meant to be, the Jedi you want to be. Master Plo was cunning. He wasn't fearsome, and he didn't put Anakin down. And that's going to be the key change and difference here, is that Master Plo is going to be having a close eye on Anakin. It's not going to be a competition. It's going to be a close eye. Master Plo is powerful, and he's humble about it too. Master Plo knows that he's one of the best Jedi in the Council, one of the best fighters in the Council, one of the best duelists in the Council, one of the best Force users in the Council. But he's humble. He doesn't let that get to his head. And he knows that Anakin is going to progress quickly, and he won't take those moments as moments to put Anakin down. He's going to make Anakin feel empowered, but not too empowered. Master Plo Koon is also going to train Anakin throughout the time between Episode 1 and Episode 2. And that's a big, big deal, because Master Plo is also going to be teaching Anakin how to start severing his attachments. He's going to teach him how to be a Jedi.
Skywalker, our mission here is finished. We must return to Coruscant.
I am not abandoning her.
Your emotions are clouding your judgment.
I will not leave her fate up to others.
It's time to go.
In the ways of the Republic Order. And while doing this, he's actually going to be taking Anakin away from Palpatine. Now, Palpatine, as early as Episode 1, said to Anakin that he will be watching Anakin's career with great interest. Palpatine had a beeline for Anakin. But Master Plo, being a council member, having more responsibilities, and having a closer eye on Anakin than Kenobi, wouldn't really allow for Chancellor Palpatine to intervene. Now, in Episode 2, as we approach Episode 2, Anakin is more powerful than he would have ever been under Obi-Wan's control. He's a great duelist, he's extremely powerful, he's charismatic, but he's humble. He's learned how to control his feelings. And Anakin isn't exactly a rambunctious beast anymore. He doesn't follow through with all those crazy-ass hormones that he has in Episode 2 that you see in the movie. Instead, Anakin is reluctant to follow or fall into attachments. Episode 2 begins with the bombing of Padme's ship, and she survives, and now the Council meets with the Chancellor. Now, this can happen two different ways. Either the Chancellor assigns Plo Koon to be Padme's bodyguard, or Obi-Wan becomes her bodyguard. Now, I'm going to choose the latter. Why does that make sense? Well, first of all, Anakin wouldn't be as attached as he was to Padme before. He would have moved on from that attachment. Plo Koon would have taught him how to move forward and how to be more like a Jedi, to be more confident in his abilities and not seek attachment. This being said, I feel like Anakin would be more comfortable with Master Plo and talking to his master about certain issues that he felt needed to be discussed with his master. In which situation, I'm placing Obi Wan and whoever he's training at the time with Padme, completely isolating Plo and Anakin from the situation. Because it doesn't make sense for Plo, a council member, to go and guard the senator. It's just not something that I don't believe the Chancellor would be able to make a master do. Though the Jedi were willing to work closely with the Chancellor, I don't believe they would have Master Plo or Anakin guard the senator. Because Obi-Wan was already around her. Obi-Wan spent time with her. It would make more sense for Padme to be more comfortable with Obi-Wan being her guard than anyone else, because Anakin was just a boy on Tatooine, and by this time she even said in the movie, I barely even recognized you. She's kind of moved on from him. And Anakin has had to move on from her, making Anakin a much better Jedi. Now, Palpatine would still be trying to pull the strings. Whether the death of Anakin's mother was just a Force vision or Palpatine pulling strings, I don't really know, but at some point during Episode 2, Anakin's going to be aware of his mother's problems. He would tell Master Plo about the nightmares he had about his mother, and Master Plo would be willing to take Anakin back to Tatooine. And though he had taught Anakin to sever his attachment, he wouldn't rid Anakin that opportunity to save his mother. They both go to Tatooine, and they both find out that his mother had been taken by the Tusken Raiders. And now both Anakin and Master Plo go to the Tusken camp to free her, and this time they do free her. Master Plo, though not a diplomatic Jedi and a Jedi Guardian, is able to negotiate a trade. They take Anakin's mother, she's barely alive, and Anakin saves his mother. Anakin has a whole new respect for his master. He has a whole new love for his master, and he has a whole new connection with his master. Obi-Wan would have said differently, but Master Plo, being experienced, being understanding, and being himself, wouldn't let Anakin lose that which was so close to him. And here's why I think that is. I know it sounds far-fetched, but Master Plo was wise. He wouldn't want Anakin to feel like he was neglecting him. And he believed in his Padawan. He believed in Anakin in this situation. He's going to be full on believing in Anakin. And you see this between him and Ahsoka later in the series, when he lets Ahsoka go along to the Citadel with Obi-Wan and Anakin, even though Anakin said no.
Master Plo, there's something we want to ask you. Did you assign Ahsoka to the mission?
It appears I did.
Though Master Plo didn't usually break the rules, I feel like in this current situation he would break the rules for his Padawan, because him and Anakin now had an extreme connection. Moving forward, Anakin relieved that he saved his mother. They're called the Geonosis, where Obi-Wan alone is there. Obi-Wan's Padawan is with Padme on Naboo, just chilling, doing normal Jedi business without any romantic interventions. And the Jedi go to Geonosis to save Obi-Wan. Now, Obi-Wan still has the whole Geonosis scenario. That goes down as normal. But here's where things are going to change again, with Anakin and Plo being on the battlefield, and the scenario being the same, where the clones end up saving all the Jedi that were rounded up in a little circle. Master Plo and Anakin are the ones that follow Count Dooku back to his little lair before he tries to leave Geonosis. And this is going to be a completely different scenario than it was with Anakin and Obi-Wan. Anakin was undisciplined with Obi-Wan, and now disciplined and much more powerful than the canon version of himself. Master Plo and Anakin Skywalker would overwhelm Count Dooku. In the scenario, I could see Master Plo even using Force judgment if he was about to hurt Anakin, but Anakin does not lose any limbs. Count Dooku is brought to justice, is brought back to Coruscant, and tried for his crimes, and the Clone Wars begin. And though they're much slower than they are in canon, because Count Dooku is now behind bars. Now it's Nute Gunray and Wat Tambor, and the different Confederacy sects starting this war and funding this war against the Republic. Anakin would become a knight for his defeat of Count Dooku. Master Plo would get his wolf pack, and Anakin would serve with the 501st as usual. And here's where the theory kind of just goes on. It just kind of rambles on now. I think by the time that Episode 3 were to arrive, Anakin would be the most powerful Jedi in the Council, And I believe that if Palpatine were to try and sway his hand even more, which he wouldn't have a lot of influence over Anakin. Anakin would have severed his attachments other than his mother, and Anakin would have been the most powerful Jedi in the Order. If Chancellor Palpatine were to appoint Anakin to the Council, if he hadn't already been appointed, then the Council would welcome it. The Council would make him a master. And this would take any ambition for Anakin to turn on the Council at all. And if the same events were to play down as they were, where Palpatine is trying to persuade Anakin to join the dark side, Anakin would have two options. He would go back to the Council and tell Master Windu, who would have a lot more respect for Anakin now that Anakin was a master, or he would kill Palpatine right there and then. I believe in this scenario that Master Plo Koon would be a great influence to young Skywalker. And I believe that with the end of Palpatine and Palpatine's demise at the end of the Clone Wars, the clones would never execute Order 66. Anakin would remain a high-ranking member of the Jedi Council with his master, Plo Koon. Obi-Wan would later join the Council, and Obi-Wan and Anakin would be friendly, but not as close as they were in canon. I think this is a very interesting scenario. I know I might be beating my chest here because I was excited to come up with it. And I think it's kind of cool. A kind of cool twist on things. A kind of cool twist to see Anakin be more controlled in his emotions. Master Plo would do that for him. I feel like Master Plo would enable Anakin to be the Jedi he was meant to be. Enable Anakin to be more powerful than any Jedi. Be the most powerful Jedi ever. As Anakin once said as a little boy on Tatooine. Anakin would feel free. He would feel incredibly powerful, and he would still be the hero of the Republic in the Clone Wars. But Anakin would never lose himself. Anakin would never lose himself. His attachment to his mother would keep him grounded, but he wouldn't seek out emotional attachment, romantic attachment. Anakin would serve as a Jedi, and he would be a full-fledged Jedi Master on the Council. In this scenario, Master Plo does what Obi-Wan never could have, and Obi-Wan had a competition with Anakin. And I hate to admit it because Obi-Wan's one of my favorite Jedi in the entire Star Wars universe. He's one of my favorite characters. I grew a beard because I liked Obi Wan Kenobi that much, you know? He was the guy I grew up looking up to because he was that character. But as I grew into watching the Clone Wars, I saw Master Plo in that same regard. And Master Plo is a much more respectable Jedi in a lot of aspects. Master Plo is a great pilot, and I feel like his piloting skills would enable Anakin to continue being a great pilot in his own way. Master Plo is an incredible duelist, meaning that every time that Anakin and Plo dueled, their bond would grow tighter and stronger and more powerful. Master Plo would continue to be the most powerful duelist, and Anakin would overtake him at some point. Anakin would be more powerful in the Force, learning Force judgment, how to use it correctly. Anakin would be unstoppable, and he would be humble too. Which is scary, because that's something we never saw. We never see a humble Anakin. We never see Anakin that doesn't want to destroy the universe. Because Obi-Wan enabled him to form attachments. And though Anakin says that Obi-Wan's the closest thing he had to a father, and Obi-Wan said, "We were brothers, Anakin." Anakin really needed a father figure. He didn't need a brother. He needed a father figure. And Plo Koon would have been that father figure. Been the figure that he needed to become a great Jedi. He wouldn't have been as freelancing as Qui-Gon Jinn. Not at all. But Master Plo Koon would have enabled Anakin to become a Jedi to his fullest potential, to become the most powerful Jedi, and be free from falling to the dark side, to be able to stop himself from falling for Palpatine's tricks. Palpatine would have no grasp on, no control over Anakin. Anakin would have free reign over Palpatine. That would result in Palpatine's demise overall. Palpatine would try too hard and get smacked in the face for it, literally, with a lightsaber. Well guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you guys have any disputes, then comment them down below. I want to talk with you about it. I want to see what you guys think about my theory. I had a lot of fun writing this. I thought this was very different. I thought it was kind of cool because, you know, you never get to see Anakin being this hero without emotion. You know, he's always portrayed with this dark side about him, and I feel like Anakin always has that dark side within him, but he needed a full-fledged master. He didn't need somebody that was just becoming a knight. He needed a master, not a knight, and a council member would have been perfect for that. And Plo Koon, being the Jedi he was, would have helped Anakin become incredibly powerful. I don't think Anakin would have been stoppable in any way, shape, or form. I think he would have been the most powerful form of any Jedi. He would have been able to duel Master Yoda, and any aspect, and it would have been incredible. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you want me to go more in depth, I would love to. But that being said, though, leave your comments down below. Tell me what you think about it. Hit that like button and subscribe if you want to see more Star Wars theories. I'm trying to do one every week, as this channel is now a Star Wars channel. Otherwise, may the Force be with you. I love you all. Spread the love, and I'll see you guys in the next video.